From the land of conjurers, flying through the internet to your device like a UAP, hauntingly unexplained and downright weird, this is the Witching Hours. And we are ready to take off in the flash of an eye. Good evening to one and all, wherever and whenever you are listening to this program. I am China the Frost, and joining me, as always, is the medium Jenny Lee. How are you doing, Jenny?
I'm doing pretty good today.
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
It's Thursday, right? So we made it
That means
Thursday
it's
every week.
Friday Eve. Yep.
Yeah, so for all the weekend off people,
Mhm.
we're almost there. We're
Yep.
almost there. Thank you everyone for coming in and hanging out with us tonight. Everyone who's made it so far, welcome in, welcome in. We got a really great show for you tonight. There's someone on the show tonight who we're going to get to talk to, who we've been friends with for quite a while, going in and out of their streams over here on Twitch and TikTok and YouTube. So we are going to talk to Guru Thanet tonight. We're going to talk about sound
Woohoo.
healing and spirituality and, well, I don't know, whatever we want to talk about. So I know a lot of you are going to be excited because I know just from Medium Jenny Lee streams, we've been in there a lot. So we're
Yeah.
ready to get into that tonight. All right, Jenny. I guess
Are
a
you
couple
ready
things
to get
we should
weird?
mention. Yeah, I am ready to get weird. Matter of fact, I'm ready. How's this for one, right? I'm ready to get weird at the Team Weird Takeover,
Oh yeah.
June 7th and 8th at Lake Shawnee Abandoned Amusement Park. If you want
Mhm.
to get weird, that's the place to be. So you can click on the Witching Hours podcast.com. You can go over there, and we are selling tickets to have a meetup, to have our own. I was telling Sheepy the other day.
Yeah.
We don't live on the West Coast. We don't even live we're on the East Coast. So it's like
Yes.
really hard to do a TwitchCon or anything like that.
Yeah.
So this is a way to do a con for our own community, Team Weird.
Yes.
So we got that going on June 7th and 8th. So if you're listening on podcasts and you're a listener and you want to come hang out, the Witching Hours podcast.com, go to Team Weird Takeover and you can purchase tickets there. Regular basic ticket that will get you everything you need. You don't need anything else. But there's also a merch package ticket that will get you some custom loots, t-shirts, things like that you will get specifically designed for the event. So we got that coming up.
Yay.
There was a couple other things I wanted to talk about today, but I'm slipping my mind right now. So
Kate,
you ready to get weird and
I
do
asked
some
you
weird news?
first.
I know you ready to do some weird news.
Yes.
All right. We have quite a few news articles tonight. The news was pretty weird this week. So we get 7 planets that are aligning in the night sky for a planetary parade. 7 planets are aligning in the night sky this week.
It's the Great Conjunction.
There we go. Creating a brief chance to see a planetary parade. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus could all be visible with clear skies, but not all can be seen by the naked eye, according to space.com and their scientists there. So which day is best for this is going to depend on where you're at. Tokyo started seeing the parade on February 22nd, and it's been going across worldwide. The best day to see the alignment will be February 28th or tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
While we're recording this. Yeah. 5 planets are visible by the naked eye, including Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. So
cool.
Mercury will be in the constellation Aquarius near the sun, just above the western horizon. Saturn will also be near the sun and low in the horizon, making it harder to spot. But to see Uranus and Neptune, you'll need a telescope to be able to see all of the planets in alignment. But we have that going on. So
pretty cool.
If you get any cool pictures of it, make sure to drop some in the Witching Hours Discord so we can see. Because you know how it is for us. You know what's the weather going to be like
rainy.
Tomorrow? It will rain here. So if you are somewhere
9 times out of 10, if there's something cool to see in the sky, it's clouds.
Like cloudy and so anyway, if you get a good picture, feel free to drop it over on Discord so we can check it out. Article number 2, deep sea doomsday fish keeps washing ashore and people are panicking. An oarfish, mythologically thought of as a harbinger of impending doom, recently washed ashore in the Canary Islands. The fish was several feet long and shimmering light blue color with orange spines. According to Japanese legend, oarfish will purposefully beach themselves to warn of an impending disaster,
Oh,
most
geez.
commonly an earthquake or tsunami. They have been spotted in the past ahead of natural disasters, including the 2011 Fukushima quake.
Oh, good Lord.
In August 2024, an oarfish was found in La Yola Cove. 2 days later, a 4.6 earthquake rattled Los Angeles.
Ay, ay,
In
ay.
fact, 3 oarfish washed ashore last year,
Oh, goodness.
which was especially unusual given that only 21 of the serpents have ever been discovered since 1901.
Wow. That is fascinating.
However, most experts say the link is a mere coincidence. The link to reports of seismic activity goes back many, many years, but there is no scientific evidence of a connection, said Hiroki Motomura, a professor of at Kagoshima University. But there's also really nothing to prove that this isn't a thing.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll find out, because they say they can't 100% deny the possibility that these oarfish aren't intentionally beaching themselves before disasters. So we'll find out, but see what happens. Hopefully not.
I mean, animals do know a lot more about what's happening than we do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of researchers going into that right now, specifically like trying to figure out how animals know and trying to replicate that kind of technology. And of course, that's a whole nother. A UFO sighting allegedly grounded several flights at an airport in Turkey.
Really?
An airport in Turkey was forced to suspend operations after a mysterious unidentified flying object was spotted in the sky. That occurred on February 18th at 10 p.m. after pilots spotted the UFO traveling near an airport at an altitude of approximately 10,000 feet. Alarmed, they radioed the control tower, prompting the air hub to ground all flights for an hour while they tried to identify the mystery craft, which apparently did not appear on the radar. And they are chalking this up to being a drone, although they don't have any evidence that it was a drone. They're just saying it was a drone.
Another
Let
one
it shut down flights for an hour. The airport subsequently resumed operations at around 11 p.m.
How frustrating.
They couldn't see it on radar, which is interesting.
Oh, yeah, that is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
An entire Alabama police department was put on leave after a grand jury recommends its abolishment. The mayor of a city in Alabama has placed its entire police department on administrative leave a day after officials announced that a grand jury had recommended the small department to be abolished, saying it had operated as more of a criminal enterprise than a law enforcement agency.
Y'all doing some shady stuff, Alabama.
And was an ongoing threat to public safety.
Goodness gracious.
Jim Sawyer, the mayor of Hanceville, a city about 3,200, roughly 45 miles north of Birmingham, said in a statement Thursday evening that after an effective meeting, the Coleman County Sheriff Matt Gentry, all employees of the police department will be placed on administrative leave.
Goodness.
So that story goes on, but it's pretty interesting just to have a whole police force just put on administrative leave.
Woo.
The last story for tonight is a couple was forced to sit next to a passenger's body after mid-flight death.
Two not so fun airport stories today.
Yeah. An Australian couple said they were forced to sit next to a passenger's body who died on a recent Qatar Airways long-haul flight. Mitchell Ring and Jennifer Collin were embarking on their dream trip to Venice. And about 10 hours into the flight from Melbourne, Australia, when a young woman leaving the aircraft lavatory collapsed and died near their row.
Whoa.
Unfortunately, the lady couldn't be saved, which was pretty heartbarking to watch. They told the news they tried to wheel her to the front of the plane, but they weren't able to. And so they asked the husband and wife if they could move the woman next to them. The couple said the incident was traumatizing and they had not been offered support from the airline at the time of the interview. And so they haven't offered them like a flight, nothing.
So it was a young woman that passed away.
Yeah.
I was just assuming it was an old person, but wow. Dang.
So what flight do you want, Jimmy?
The one with the poop down the aisle, the UFO stranded for an hour, or the one where you have to sit next to a lady who died. I don't know. I'm definitely gonna say not the poop one.
That's the first one out.
It's on the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
I'll take the have to sit for an hour. Let's do that one.
Yeah. I've done more than that, so that's okay.
I have.
And that was the weird news.
Yikes.
All right, everybody. Brother Thanet has been on a spiritual seeking journey for 10 plus years. He is the founder of the Mystic Village and HTX Meditation, which is a spiritual community focused on sound healing, meditation, and wisdom. Thanet has been a live streamer on Twitch for over 5 years and eventually broke through to be a full-time live streamer from success on TikTok and now multi-streams to 6 different platforms. With the wonderful motto, love your damn self. Please welcome to the show, Brother Thanet. How are you doing tonight?
Hello. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for your work.
Exciting.
I spent a few years calling you Cosmic, so if I slip tonight, all apologies. Because you're one of the first people that I popped onto and checked out when I started my Twitch adventure. So
yeah,
it's a pretty big deal to have you on tonight.
Many people call me the OG, which is like, damn.
It's always interesting when you go from being the new guy to the OG, right? Like, when does that happen?
Yeah, I was like, did not expect to be, he's an OG. I'm like, damn. We that. Start from the bottom, now we're here. Yeah.
I've been streaming almost as long as you have, but it doesn't seem like it's been that long. Do you feel the same way that it doesn't seem like it's been 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, if I think about it, it's definitely a grind. It's definitely, but I don't think about the difficulty. I just think about about service, right? Being effective at serving humanity using the healing modality or spirituality. And sometimes it gets difficult. Sometimes things don't work out, but that's the best part. Sometimes things aren't supposed to work out.
Yep.
And another door opens if you just don't give up.
Exactly. Determination, persistence, perseverance.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've seen you go through many transitions over the years. And the last time I think I really got to hang out in your stream and talk to you must have been a long time ago, because you were still having to deliver Amazon packages, I think. And now you get to stream full time, right?
Yeah, exactly. I did so many gig jobs like Uber Eats, Amazon deliveries was the one, and I was selling books on Amazon, used books to Amazon for a while.
Oh, wow.
And just to figure out what the heck is my calling, it's not easy to just do, teach people and do sound healing and do it every day. But the blessing is that it eventually happened because I just kept diving into things, just like, but of course I commit to things for like many years, right? And say, okay, why is it not growing? And then I was like, fine, I'll try this one more thing. And it was TikTok. And it was like, it's like sometimes you keep doing the same thing, but you just tweak a little bit, but that little bit is just, sometimes that's the last piece of puzzle that helps open the next door. And this thing never stops, right? The puzzle that's the next puzzle now.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's really interesting because, it's like these things happen, and I've seen parallels between, like, a lot of different, especially when it comes to streamers who are more doing the spiritual thing, which is that the doors open, but they don't always necessarily open up to the things that people are expecting. So it's like you're working towards this goal, but it doesn't ever really seem to take you directly there. It's like this this kind of web of getting you somewhere, and you just kind of have to trust in the process. Is that kind of how it's been for you as well?
For sure. It's luckily I meditate, and so the meditation helps us to be aware of uh, okay, what's not working and what clearly works. And sometimes the thing you want is not the thing you need. And so recognize that, okay, I want to maybe do a card reading, but then I need to do sound healing. Okay, right now people want me to do sound healing, but what's needed is a little talking. Or okay, I'm doing too much talking. How can but people resonate with more music. And that paying attention to every detail. Okay, when you talk about this, the viewer count dips like by so much. When you talk about this grows, but you sometimes you get lost following the numbers, but it does matter because you're here to make content for people, not the wall, you know?
Mm-hmm. You know, that's another thing too. And I don't want to take you out of context because a lot of this comes from the streams that I saw from you, maybe a couple years ago now. I mean, shoot, maybe even like 3 years ago. But it was something that me and Jenny would have conversations about, like as we were watching your stream or something. And that's that people often don't want to hear about the work that they have to do. They don't want to hear about the work that has to be put in. They don't, they want to come and they want to get their tarot reading, and they want to hear that someone's madly in love with them, and that next spring they're going to get married, and that they're going to get their dream job. And when you tell them that, well, there's some things that you got to work on, and there's some time that maybe you have to wait, very quickly they move into another channel and get a different tarot reading. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, because I know that was something you had spoken about before.
Yeah, for sure. People still ask me about that issue all the time about like, man, or brother Muso Patty. Always he kids like, man, people they just want to love reading. And I ran into that issue early on, which sparked the seed called love your damn self. Because so many people just was looking, does Maria still have feelings for me?
Yeah.
Or right. And so I started like, okay. And I would mentor them, and then they would come back to do the same thing. I'm like, what are they not getting? And then it can either inspire us to be better teacher, or we can continue doing the same thing, right? And so I decided, okay, what do I need to do to help people like be inspired to take action and not just come get a card reading? Like, sometimes people just are looking for fortune telling and all these things. They want to see their future, but they don't want to do the work. And so, but when you explain how beautiful, like doing the dirty work is, like no one wants to clean their room, but like, whenever the room feels like it's clear, you want to meditate. And so you have to be really good at convincing people loving yourself. It's actually great. And so part of it is music, for sure. Music and gently speaking and relating to people and being yourself, being completely yourself. I crack a lot of jokes. I'm sassy. If I need to play the flute, the one thing I did change is I don't curse anymore on stream. Back then I used my tongue was more sassy. Now I just kind of keep it pretty PG-13 or PG, I guess, because sometimes you move away from a certain level and then you don't need to use that kind of language anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was that was one of my questions for you, was how important is humor in your wisdom part?
It's huge. I think I grew up listening to my father always played cassette tapes of monks giving funny Dharma talks, because that's the kind you want to hear, not some boring. Right, the Four Noble Truth. There's a cause and effect, and you should pay attention to the golly. And so, growing up, I had a lot of boring talk. So, it's learning to be effective. What was the question again? I forgot.
How important is humor in your wisdom?
It's important because when we're helping people, it can be so serious and heavy. right? And so when that heaviness has a balance of sprinkling a little joy, or sprinkling like who does that, right? What, like, right, when you're like, it sometimes it's like when you're a therapist, you're supposed to be professional, but when you're doing the spiritual thing, well, spiritual to me means genuine, authentically myself, right? And so maybe somebody's flavor is more professional and they're eloquently speaking, but me, I do that, but I need my pinky up sometime. I need to like shake. Sometimes the dad joke comes out. I don't want to just suppress the dad joke, like, you know.
Yeah.
And but that's just my true nature is what makes my life work is laughter. And when people enjoy, so it makes people able to digest more of the difficult things that they need to hear when they know that sometimes he's gonna crack some damn jokes and
Yep.
everyone's gonna crack up, and then we're gonna turn it down, like, everybody chill.
Yeah.
And he still might be cracking, no, chill. And so part of that whole experience help people to want to cultivate more, because because sometimes people cry because they're releasing. It's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I come from my father's also a community leader, Buddhist, and so he uses humor in official spaces too. So it's definitely a passed down thing, and I just found a different way to approach it, and in a different setting. But it's work. Like my dad would crack jokes at a funeral, and everyone would crack up, and then go back to crying again.
Yeah.
So I get it from the family for
I
sure.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
you grew up in
humor. I was going to
Go
say,
ahead.
humor and laughter is a really good way to disarm people.
Yes.
It can be. I mean, I know for sure. Like even like doctors and nurses, like those are always the ones that seem to have the best bedside manner to me. It's like when they can kind of put me at ease with a little joke, for so I can understand that in spiritual work just as much. Like, you got to be able to understand, that not everything has to be 100% serious all the time, right? Because
Yeah,
the
when I
world
was
isn't
very
serious
depressed
all the time.
myself, humor was something is easy to go to. Just I would like watch Bobby Lee and Dave Chappelle or Cat Williams over and over, just because when your life sucks, some laughter makes life bearable.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Jenny, I know I interrupted you there.
That's okay. So you grew up in a Buddhist household. And then from what I know about you, you go through a very rough time in your life.
Mm.
And then it comes back around. So tell us a little bit about the path of that journey for you.
I would say that I'm an immigrant. We're an immigrant family. We immigrated from Thailand, and my parents didn't really socialize with American people too much. So the adjustment toward American culture was really difficult because I'm very sheltered and dorky. Okay, like clearly to me, like it's clear. I know I'm dorky because it's like an innocent exploration and you don't know the world's judging you.
Yeah.
So you just like, kids who just pick their nose right in front of you. I never stopped being like that, and I'm still like that.
Yeah.
But in my own adult way,
Yeah.
and so my childhood I got picked on a lot because I was just very sheltered and dorky, and because a lot of people learn how to adjust towards society and towards fitting in. I didn't know how to fit in. I tried to fit in, and so when you don't fit in, eventually you just kind of end up looking for. You try to find happiness in another way, but in the opposite keeps happening. You get picked on, and so I eventually get through grade school. I hated grade school. I failed. I wasn't the worst student, but I definitely didn't care because when you get picked on a lot, your brain just want to get through and to get home to play, to just play video games.
Yeah.
Right. That was my escape and music. And as I get to college, I went to college not wanting to go. I went because what else do you do after high school? Well, of course, college. But everything that I wanted to do, my parents didn't allow me like I wanted to go to the army.
Mm.
I was scared I was gonna die.
Yeah.
I wanted to go be a chef. She's like, it doesn't make money. I wanted to be a photographer. So all the things that I wanted to do with my heart, my mother shut that down quickly. And so it made me feel like, well, shoot, I'm gonna just do what she wants then, which is like, of course, not the thing that fulfills me. So
Yeah.
everything that I did kept failing, and it led me to the streets, street racing, going to the club for years. Like I was going to the club Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Like I didn't even know I could go to the clubs that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clubs open on a Tuesday.
Yeah. And so I was hanging out in the streets and around and still innocent, but as you hang around the street more, you join that part, you start drinking, you start doing more partying, street racing, and then you start to make friends with hustlers and thugs, and eventually when you become depressed, or I think it was a heartbreak or whatever, right? You're looking for love. So you're lost in life, and the thing that you're looking for is love. And the love that you're looking for oftentimes is about a romantic relationship, because that's what most of us in the beginning think. Love, it's like romantic relationship. And eventually when you get heartbroken and then you spiral, then that's what like led me down a dark path towards ending in a trap house.
Damn.
And just doing substance, and that's when I experienced my first near-death experience and started experiencing the veil. Like, man, life is so thin that when you get close to the veil, you start to like communicate with the other side. And at that time, the other side was just my great grandmother's spirit. Right, was so close to because I was doing so much substance and not drinking water. Dehydration is the main thing that really destroys you when you overdose or whatever. And I keep surviving these things. I just one time was just dehydration, the other time was just a panic attack. Like it's like I was laying in bed in the trap house and my heart was irregularly beating, like, and I'm laying in bed for 6 hours and trying to sleep, like meditating to go to sleep. And my heart just and then my brain starts freaking out. Oh God, I think we need to call. I walk outside to talk to, the homies. And like, guys, I think we need to call the ambulance because my heart is effing up. And so they give me something to smoke and they give me some pill. And then I basically knock out for like 4 hours. And eventually I ran out of money to do substance. Like I only stopped because I didn't have any more. I quit my job to do, substance.
Yeah.
And so that was the night of the dark soul in my life. Just like but the one thing I always did was take care of myself. Like even though I was hanging out, there was the person at the house was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes indoor, and I was just there all effed up with smoke. And when I went home, I always like take a bath. Like I would do a cleansing bath. So I was doing my best to get by. It's just sometimes you dug yourself a hole, and I'm grateful I climb out. And so after not dying, I eventually went into hiding. Basically, I just didn't want to see anybody because I was so like ashamed that I was a addict. Didn't want to. I know it, when people called me, I didn't answer. When people text me, I didn't go out. I didn't even go see the sunshine. I just stayed in and just played video games and be miserable. And then eventually my parents kind of like, you need to go get a job. And that was the beginning of another challenge. And I think the biggest turning point from there was I was working at the Cheesecake Factory, and then I hated working there because I didn't know how to engage with American culture. I've been immersed in Thai people only, right? So
and then you're at the Cheesecake Factory of all places.
Yeah, it's like the traffic, it's so noisy, it's so high stress, it's so hustling, there's a lot of substance abuse going on, there's a lot of weird stuff. And so it's so much pressure, but I just didn't know how to quit until I almost got fired because I was so anxiety in my head so much, right? Because that's just who I was, just like in my head. So I was in my head so much, I kept missing orders. Like people would order fettuccine alfredo with chicken, and I would forget to put chicken on there, and I would get right up so much to where the GM was gonna let me go from the company because I just kept messing up. And the turning point was me deciding, okay, I have an option. I can either just don't care and just keep effing up, or I could try for the first time in my life. And so that's what I did. And whenever I tried,
one decision.
Yeah, it's just that one. But of course, it came down to the corporate company wanting to fire me,
Yeah.
like still giving me a chance. Look, like they really liked me. They didn't want to, but it was like so many write up already to where it's the right thing to do. And then it inspired me to, okay, I'm gonna try to be the best server I can for me. And that's when doors begin to, because that's the first time I said yes to life in a I mean, I think that might be the first time I said yes to life since forever. I didn't believe there was nothing to say yes to. I just did what the elders tell me to, be a good boy and do what mama tells me and all this, right? And now it's like, I'm going to say yes on my own will, not because somebody told me to.
Yeah.
Essentially, they said, if you don't, so there was some pressure. And it led me towards wanting to better my life, leading to becoming employee of the month, and then lead me to wanting to improve my finances. That led me to meditation, because that was the only free thing to do. Investing, I don't have nothing to invest, but a routine, a ritual. Right? Successful people have a certain flow to the ritual to their life, and one of them was kind of reflection time, prayer time, or meditation. And so from wanting to meditate to get money, the wisdom came. Now, to be honest, the money did come. I made more money at the Cheesecake Factory with the least effort I ever. I was just practice being a good human being, a good like I treated everyone like my family. I didn't like kiss ass to to make money. I just wanted to be a good human being, and people saw that and felt that, and so it's effortless. And then that led me to deeper meditation. Like I started recognizing, okay, this meditation thing is working. So I tried it for 3 days, morning and night. And I was doing that. Something feels better with my life. Then I was like, okay, I'm gonna commit for 7 days, 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes at night. Right. And I was like, dude, my life is great. And then I stopped doing it after a while. Like, something's missing. And at that time I called it, my spirituality is missing. And so I get back, and now I try for a month. I was like, dude, I started feeling this thing called like joy for the first time. Like,
wow.
Whoa. And eventually I felt this thing called bliss. I was like, so emotional that happiness could be this simple. And that's what led me down towards why isn't everyone feeling like this?
Yeah. So when you started meditating those first 3 days or whatever, did you have a hard time like in getting into the meditative state? Because you were saying that before that you're definitely in your head, anxiety ridden, depression. So was it hard at first, or did it just come naturally to you?
It was definitely difficult because I was constantly negative. But I don't know, I just believed, I had just beginning to have faith, and the beginner's mind was alive. So there was a ripple, like it's just a wave of good energy that happened, and it whipped, right? And I was like, okay, that it was a little whipple. And so in the beginning, I couldn't meditate very long. I was meditating 10 minutes, and I wanted to meditate 15 minutes, but I would never get started. But I really wanted to develop myself. I was like, well, what's the least amount of time you're willing to sit your butt down and meditate? And it became 8 minutes. Okay.
8's a good number.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I could do 8. Like, I'm not 5. Like, but 8, so
compromise with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I could do 8 minutes. That's 5, man. Why am I even meditating? 5, 8 minutes. What's up? And so the beginning was 8 minutes of just whatever I know, which is like using the mantra. No, I use it more. I sat and just be with my breath. I think Thich Nhat Hanh, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in, and just following my breath. And then I started recognizing my mind was less busy. Oh, I didn't recognize. I was like, something's changed. I didn't realize my mind was less busy. I just go, something feels right.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're not really that aware in the beginning. You're just like, something feels better. I think I should keep doing it. And so it eventually it led to 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours of meditation at night, because I'm the type where I'm all in only. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I eventually meditated too much to where I became like a floating cloud.
Yeah.
For real. Like
no grounding whatsoever.
Yeah, I was so airy. I was just like I went to a metaphysical fair and I went to get a card reading, and the lady said, "You're like a Zen master." Right? But I basically was so ungrounded, people could see that I was just So when I tell people I've experienced like the really extreme of meditating too much, try being a cloud for months. Yeah.
Did you have any amazing experiences or breakthroughs or things when you were floating around?
Tons. It was more at that, whenever you're in the beginning stage, you see more. But as you become mature, you realize there's nothing to see. In my practice, at least. And so, because eventually you just become a conduit, you become a bridge, because this thing blocks the energy flow. You get this, take the brain out, and the bridge, you just help transfer the energy. So in the beginning, I definitely was talking to a lot of, spirits, and because that's what I asked for. Like, that would be cool. Right. But then I got to the level, was like, okay, what's beyond communicating? Right. What's beyond communicating? What if I stopped? What's beyond that? And that's what I guess I'm a seeker. So it made me like, okay, what's beyond communicating? And then it led me towards the channeled state, right? Which is like whenever I'm speaking, oftentimes it's from the channeled state and less from my mind, which is where all the jokes come from, right? All this silliness, and I don't think about it. It just naturally comes natural to me, because that's how my true nature is. And but of course I would sit and look for angels, only to realize I was looking for myself, my servant self, because I definitely fell asleep in a meditation and dreamed that I told my father, "Dad, I saw an angel." And then when I look at the angel, just like ah, and this purifying energy. And eventually a year later, or in that dream, the angel whispered, "I'm here." And the message was, you're looking for the angel, but what you're looking for is already here. It's here in a moment. You're the one you're looking for. And so that's a huge part. So angels have been a huge part of my spiritual development, because my great grandmother, like guardian angels, I definitely was hugely inspired by my great grandmother's spirit, because that's all I had when my faith was very low. The love of a great grandmother or anyone really can save a life, just because you're so kind all the time. And in every photo, I saw my great grandmother adoring me. And in my life, I did not feel that at all. Like, my family did not show me warmth that much. So even through photos, I felt the warmth, and that is what helped me not die. Literally.
Wow. So she was there from the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And still here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful part.
Always. Wow.
And so I, of course, like I remember everything so thoroughly because my intuition, the universe told me, hey, memorize everything because you're gonna help people. You need to remember all the details so you can use it to inspire people to love themselves and to heal. Like all the stories of my substance abuse has helped so many people quit substance. And so I used to meditate, remembering the details of all this because you can easily forget a lot.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
And so that's why like I could like keep going forever, and I just pick out what's useful to who I'm talking to, and all that is so I'm definitely grateful for all. The universe is great. I
Yeah.
used to not believe in this at all, but
Mhm.
me like for me to survive a lot of near death experiences, sadness, and just a terrible I wouldn't even say the beginning was terrible. It was just rough.
Yeah.
I got spanked a lot because I'm hyper, right? And I'm hyper because I got picked on a lot. So your brain's like, so nothing was supporting. And I think the thing I had was the radio. That the music from the radio. I could go to classical if I wanted to relax. I could explore the oldies music if I wanted to, and so I escaped through music, not not expecting that I would be a sound healer one day. It
Yeah.
was just music. It's something that we go to when we feel something, and I'm grateful that I get to do music every freaking day of my life
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that some more.
Well,
So
I was
yeah, do you
gonna
have
say like
questions?
music is kind of I think a lot of people would be surprised because that's what I did mostly through my early life was music. And I think people would be surprised to find out how many musicians are just nerds. Uh, it seems like a lot of people who, I feel like music, especially in the early years, can be an escape for a lot
Mm,
of different kids who are dealing with those things. So I found a lot in the music world um, that it was a place for a lot of kids who maybe got picked on, but that's the way for them to become the cool kid to a certain degree. And like no one knows that that really cool guy who wears that really cool outfit actually was picked on a lot when they were in school, right?
for sure. No one
Yeah.
can really in the kids world, no one sees that, but adults, like that could be the future Jimi Hendrix, all dorky
Yeah,
as hell.
exactly. Yeah, so many, so many.
Yeah, and so that's why a lot of comedians have really messed up beginnings, but that's what
Mhm.
brings the diamond out is the pressure, right? All that
Yeah,
pressure.
absolutely.
Have we ever talked about your professor's quote on this show before? 'Cause that makes me
Oh,
wanna
goodness
talk about
gracious.
it. But
I had
it is. Oh, go
I had
ahead.
a I had a sculpture professor one time when my brother passed away, and I made an artwork that was about him dying, like, a couple weeks after it happened, and during the critique, he said that no great art is ever made from, emotions, and like, I just had to go in the bathroom and cry for about half an hour, but it's, like, the stupidest thing anybody's ever said, you know?
Yeah.
No
It's like,
great what?
no great art is ever made from emotions and trauma, and they're like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah, I mean the thing is that's that's where the world he comes from
That
probably.
was his
Yeah.
perspective then, I'm sure it's changed by
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, it could have been a way, because people process things differently, So, like, I could have just been the way he processed it, but it's kinda hard to go with that when you look at all the great things that have been
Yeah,
accomplished from
from
whatever
trauma
emotion that is, pain
trauma,
and
pain, and
Mhm.
suffering.
yeah.
But anyway, so music plays a big role in your life.
Mhm.
How do you get started with the sound healing? And second question for that, for anybody who doesn't know what sound healing is, will you tell us more about what it is?
Sure. I guess you can start with the sound healing is music that helps you to return to your heart. Like it's just sometimes you're so busy in your head, and when you hear here, can do one. when you hear and you breathe, it returns you to the moment. But of course, when you when you stay in the moment with positive energy for extended amount of time, you begin to have clarity and your mind becomes more clear. But usually the sound healing is like a soothing, like this is one note, right? And so most of the time we listen to music, it's like, a whole song. But when you hear the flute, it's like this long flowing music. And here's a little flute here. And the beautiful part about the sound healing is really the silence in between the sound that helps you to like, I guess everything's fine.
It's really interesting because you said the sound in between, like the space in between the notes, and I kind of really resonated with that because it's almost like the waiting that kind of centers you a little bit there.
For sure. Yeah. That's why now traditionally there wasn't too many. It's just, all right, the master's you just sit there and you breathe, right? And if you slouch your back, you get the stick on your back. Ow, right? But now it's like, okay, not many people can deal with that kind of training. Yeah. So how do you make sound healing more, or how do you make meditation more interesting? You add music that's live. And when the music's live, it's like a concert where you get to lay down and everyone lays down if they want to. Right? Because most concerts, let's get right, you get a hot dog and then you get some beers. Woo! But when it's sound healing concert, it's quiet, it's peaceful, and sometimes you hear the and then you just have to forgive them, or if it's bad enough, you wake them up. Hey, shut the F
up. Snoring was not part of this sound healing.
I told them, hey, sometimes you're going to hear some shamanic snoring. So I just turn it into comedy. Like, just enjoy the shamanic snoring, because some people, they don't sleep that good ever.
Yeah.
And so when they come to the sound bath, it's the first time they actually have a good sleep. And so that's why I just make a joke. It's shamanic snoring. And everyone cracks up. And when it happens, everyone like, oh, there's the shamanic snoring. And so instead of people getting irritated.
That happened to me when I first started doing yoga. Whenever we got to Shavasana, I'd be like,
yeah, for sure.
It's the same thing.
And it's sometimes that's what people need. And so the art of, that's what sound healing is about. And what I do is, here, I guess I could zoom it back. This is I called it my temple. This is more like a temple to me, the space. Let me see if fit to screen. So everything here I'm surrounded by probably 80 instruments.
Wow. Okay. That's grown so much.
Yeah. And like,
I know by time.
It's all the different mallets that I use, right?
Wow.
Because every mallet it's about the detail, right? This mallet is a bass mallet. This is a mid-tone mallet. It has felt. Completely different. And even the size of the mallet makes a difference in a tone. And if you use the hardwood side, right, so all the details and experience. And the key to sound healing is love. Many people ask me, should I buy a 432 hertz flute or a 440? I'm like, if you just play with love, it's any hertz is fine. You can buy a 432 and play like a cat just died across the street, right? And so, but if you play a 440 hertz with love, right, people start to like feel relaxed because you're relaxed and you're in a space of joy. Now, if you don't if you don't deeply heal yourself, the love, right, the pain's gonna come through the flute. And so when you're playing, your mind can get distracted if you carry too much. So when you're playing and your energy is not clear, your mind will wander and look too much. But whenever things are light and clear, you pick up any instrument, you don't even play it. The instrument plays you. But that's how I do it, right? And it's self-taught. But of course, I have a mentor who teaches me how to operate the inner temple. But then, so now that when the inner temple is activated, anything that you do, it comes from the source. But you constantly have to check your ego because the spiritual ego can sneak in any time and go, I am Guru Thanet of the Mystic Village. Like Conan the Barbarian, you know? But the main part is called result-driven spirituality, result-driven sound healing. So the sound healing doesn't just relax people. When the sound healing is excellent, people release, they cry, and then they're able to forgive the impossible, and it leads to bliss. So my standard for a practitioner is, if they're not feeling bliss, why not? What must I do to maintain the standards of every time I pick up the flute, there has to be bliss? And so whenever people weren't blissing out at the end, I was like, okay, why? Well, but now that I've been doing it for a while, it's consistent. But sometimes people want bliss, but they just need to be heard more than the music. So sometimes I ask more questions, because sometimes what helps open the heart is for people to be a little bit vulnerable. When they're vulnerable, there's a space for the music to flow now. And then, right? And so when the space flows well, then I just And so the way I see instruments, there's yin and yang energy. But musically, I see it more of a cinematic experience. I call it, do you want it more earthy or do you want it more angelic? Right? The earthy vibe would be and it just comes out. So I don't even know what music will come out. I don't plan it. So I don't know, they don't know, but what comes out, I just make sure it comes from a clear place, and the results, eventually I call it, you open the mandala. So in the beginning, everybody is like not doesn't trust, right? But as it's like what we do. You have an intro. Hey, welcome everybody. Here's the weird news, right? It's like, hey, what's up, my homies? But then when it comes time to do the healing, it's like, okay, we're warmed up. We trust each other, and then the journey begins. We go on a journey together,
Yeah.
And they just trust you completely. That's why they're here. And then me, I also don't know where I'm going, but my heart does. So I just trust completely. And when the mandala opens, the energy, like the peace and bliss is just so, it's not high energy, but it's so like, it's pure. It's like a pure energy that seems high, but it's just the moment.
Yeah.
And then the showers of gratitude. Thank you so much. Thank you. Here comes the gratitude. And here comes people start gifting out of nowhere. Here's a galaxy or whatever. I was like, what's going on? And then I was like, oh, the mandala open. And people start to feel this joy. But it may take an hour to get there.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes sound baths aren't shorter than an hour. And sometimes it takes 3 hours. That's why I stream 5 hours morning and night, because healing is not something that's supposed to be routine. There's a journey, there's a mountain that you climb. Like we're climbing mountain together. Before it's like I'm climbing alone. Where's my spiritual friends? And now I'm like a guide. Yo, Everest is this way, bro.
Grab your hike and shit. Let's go.
Yeah, and so but one of the we've climbed Kilimanjaro last week. Y'all in or not? And so people just people begin to trust because I show up so much, and then the results from it. Like Sister Tanya, like she got her whole family watching, the children all the way to grandma, even the dogs watching. So I'm grateful. So when people give me, like when the testimonial come, I see that's the universe doing the work, and I need to continue being a good servant because something's working. I don't know what is, but I just know it is, and I just need to keep developing and world peace. Right?
We've had the conversation many times over the few years I've been streaming about when people are creating whatever they're creating. It can be anything. When they're really in that flow, which I think is like kind of what you're talking about with the mandala type of opening thing, is that we're really connecting in with whatever you want to call it, whatever words you want to put on it, the universe, spirit, God, whatever, what have you. And that it's really just flowing through us as we're co-creating with the universe. Do you feel the same way when you're doing your music?
Absolutely. I would say I see the word co-creating, but I think many people, like, when people compliment me, I don't even want the compliment because it's not even, I just tell me I'm a good bridge. That's enough.
Yeah.
Because if you don't constantly check the ego, it blocks the energy. Yes, I would say co-creating is one way, but all I'm being is a good instrument.
Yeah.
Right. And
you're the
energy,
instrument, just like
creator
the instruments you're
is
using.
Creating. Yeah, I'm just a good guitar. Like, play me. Like, oh, you need me to be a flute? Fine.
Yeah. I see the way you're thinking about it as well.
Yeah.
It actually came at a really interesting time too, because when I first started watching some of your sound healing and getting into, some of the bowls and the flutes and stuff like that, I had Ginny had started meditating like before me, and so like I was just kind of getting into reading tarot and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, I got to find a way to meditate, but I wasn't very good at it, just starting off. And so I found that I could really meditate to certain kinds of music better. And it's really interesting because for me, the first time I realized that I could really meditate to this music was a band called Hai Long. I'm not sure if you've heard of them, but it's very much like a shamanic band. But it kind of has that same vibe of, you can tell like the music they're playing has like this centeringness to it. It has whatever that is that you were just playing. Like we had a comment in here about how it's getting ready to like make them cry. It's just like this immediate connection that you have with the music, and I could like almost just disappear, as like I could center myself so easy with that music. And I
Yeah.
was kind of worried at first that I was like cheating,
Yeah.
that the music was like, a distraction and I wasn't really doing it. Is that is it okay to meditate with music? Is it something that you need to use as a bridge?
In the beginning, I mean, everything is a tool, the instruction, but eventually, what's beyond the tool, right? So, when I first started, I did use a lot of binaural frequency heavily. I use a lot of music from Insight Timer, right? And just like ding, ding, ding. And so music works, but it comes from the outside. But eventually, imagine this. This is music. Imagine you could turn your own breathing into your meditation radio station. But it's like so plain, right? Like, who would turn their own breath into meditation music? Well, that station's always on unless you did. So imagine if you learn to create a relationship with your breath to where it's like a sacred radio station of, right? And so that's eventually starting with music, and then sometimes when the music works, then you want to let go of the music too, right? And so if it's difficult, I tell people it's good that things are difficult, because in the beginning maybe you want things to be easy when you get started, and then when you because we grow through discomfort, right? Like right now,
Yep.
I'm sitting in full lotus. Why?
Mm-hmm.
It helps me to focus and dial in because it's uncomfortable. But if I'm like, what's up, right? I'm leaning back. And so that's why it's more about a little discomfort helps you to grow, but too much makes you miserable.
Yeah.
And so the fine line between comfort and discomfort, you want to lean towards the choosing a little discomfort, or me a little bit more, because most of the time you're not in discomfort. But if you are in current discomfort, I guarantee you there's healing.
So that's interesting, because that's kind of talking about the benefits of things like asceticism, essentially, like a certain version of that to a certain degree.
That's more extreme.
Yeah.
Through the Buddha's teaching, the Buddha definitely went the path of asceticism. And I was like, this ain't the way. We shouldn't starve ourselves and eat
Yeah.
4 grains of rice, but the yogis had to explore, maybe there's something, right? So I walked the path of make life useful, because I started studying recently the gurus of India, and they become known for, one guru's known for just eating potato. Like, okay, like okay, great. I mean, some people become inspired, but it's not so practical. So now a lot of people like, I just eat, right? I eat only lettuce. Like, that's another path. Okay, well, how are we gonna change the world if we're just all worshiping because they get right? They are ascetic, but how does that contribute to society? And so that's why that sometimes spirituality that's not so practical. I mean, I guess there's some practicality. Yes, you're inspiring people. Wow, it's possible. I couldn't eat potato only. But imagine if you just taught people how to live a good life and you're good at teaching, you could really influence more. But instead, that's the potato guru, right? Let me touch his feet real quick, and then let me go on my way, give him a dollar or $5, and then I'll go to the next one. Like, that's not the message. It's more, okay, be a good person, help others, and then teach others too. If you learn how to be peaceful, teach others, and it keeps going. So you keep teaching. And that's the Sangha, right? The spiritual community that keeps that stays humble, and we practice together, and the world becomes a better place. And so I try to, but everyone's different. Not everybody's trying to be spiritual teacher. Not everyone's trying to like, be super disciplined. But if you could do so much with your life if you had discipline, which I think we all know, right? Like this podcast wouldn't be here if y'all didn't have discipline.
Yeah.
Right.
If we weren't consistent, determined, persistent with our,
And so when you were consistent and determined and inspired, in the beginning, it's so slow, but you begin to catch momentum, and it's an exponential growth if you do it from the heart. Because right now, in the beginning, I was very slow. Like, oh, why I'm not growing that much on Twitch? There's less people now. What the? There's all these people licking the microphone now. What the?
Yeah.
I'm in the ASMR section, and before I didn't see nobody licking stuff. Now it's everywhere. Now I'm in a sea of people licking microphone so that you can go to their link in the bio, and now people are not coming to listen to regular like ASMR because there's this other weird stuff all around.
Yeah.
And so my trajectory, like I was growing rapidly, and out of nowhere I plateaued and began to just plateaued because I guess the meta change, right? Towards like hot tub streams and lick the microphone.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, universe, what the? And I got confused because it was working out the first year and a half until it happened. And then I started doing more tarot on the stream for a long time. And then I started seeing it not grow, which made me, because I need things to progress and grow. And so when things doesn't grow, you kind of I keep trying. Like I did, like the best microphone, the best everything, and it still didn't grow. So it was frustrating because I get the backdrop, I'm giving like the most, and then it just doesn't work. And so I took a break. And then the universe said, try Insight Timer. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll try it. And it works out, but it doesn't sparkle complete joy. But then I hit the message, why don't you try TikTok? It's noisy on there. But I just like, fine.
I remember when you started TikTok.
Yeah, like, fine, I'll try TikTok. Yeah. And then eventually it basically blew up, like, it's so, and now I just focus on authentic community. I don't really focus on virality as much and video. I just focus on the people who are here, who take me seriously, and teaching people to build their life and improve their family so that their grandchildren is good, so that they're good, so that their son and daughters are good. Sometimes the cost of getting too big is you lose authenticity. So my goal right now is to grow with people, not to grow on my own. So it's more of a community for me than I'm a content creator.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so grateful, because I could let go of the card reading now, because you become the oracle, right? You become the teacher. And that's why the name Guru Thanet appeared on TikTok, because I realized, okay, that's basically what I'm doing. And I went back to Brother Thanet at one point because I was trying to be humble, but I realized, you know what? Guru is more controversial. And if I'm not a good one, then people will just be, see, I told you it's fake. But when you do a good job of teaching people, the result is it grows. So now we're at 82,000 followers, which is not, I didn't even think that was, I don't think things are possible. I just know they are, but I don't know the number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is really interesting because in a lot of ways, it's, talking about the name. I don't know. There's something interesting about that, because it's like sometimes you just have to speak it into existence. It's like, okay, well, I don't want to seem pretentious or something by doing that. But I mean, at a certain period of time, it's just what happens, right? Like, it's just like it's meant to be that way.
Yeah, because when people hear about gurus, it's like, oh, that must be a fraudster, that's a charlatan, or it was trying to scam people for their money. But if you're actually doing good work, the opposite happens. It actually is meaningful, and the respect. And now maybe they started doubting you, but as people sit there for days, he's here again. Does he ever sleep? He's here again. But then every time they're here, they're like, the vibes are great.
Yeah. It's like
they only
it's
come
like
back to like
was-
negative watch, but instead the opposite happens. I'm like, oh, I actually like it here.
yeah.
That's the beautiful part.
So the imposter syndrome is real. Like, oh, I can't really be doing this, but no, you're doing it. So like, just accept it. You know, like for sure.
And
I know that's been something that I've struggled with a lot. It's like I'm just a guy who does like when I first started doing this. It's like I'm just a guy who's trying to do a podcast. You know, and then at some point in time, you have to realize like, no, I'm a podcaster. You know, like, but you know, like I'm a host. But I didn't want to say that. Like for the first couple of years, like, well, I do this, but I'm not really. Yeah.
That's why your discipline and your devotion and great results. That's why I call it result-driven spirituality, because the reason I can teach people to be happy, because deep inside, that's how I genuinely feel. And so there's no like, and so when you realize you teach people how to be happy, that's essentially a guru. And so, but of course, the cost of it is controversial because of that. But sometimes you just got to step up to the plate and hit home runs.
Yeah.
For real. Like if you can hit home run, practice, and then when it's time, because right, sometimes like out of nowhere, like the stream hit 1,000 viewers at one point. I was like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
So I was just because it's just the algorithm, like randomly it shifts to whatever. So I was just surprised, like, what is going on? But I just, I just keep, no matter what the number is, I just do my best to follow my heart and deliver the best that I can. The best that I can, because no matter what the number is, I remember why I'm here. I just want to see people genuinely happy, and I don't want to just say that. I want results. You know what I mean? And so to have result-driven spiritual community, you have to be fierce. And so we have a lot of people that will come and, put their religion onto, religious people who are negative, and even agnostic people or even ungrounded people. And the best thing I learned was to do what their teacher told them. Love your neighbor still. Love even your enemy. Right. And so basically, like I learned to deeply respect all people. Sometimes it's hard to respect rude, disrespectful people.
Yes.
But when you're able to beautifully love people who are negative, they get stunned that even though they're acting so rude, you still have patience for them, and it makes them have a little bit more faith in humanity without them realizing it. And some people come to apologize later, like, sorry, I was acting up or whatever,
All right. Well, we are already at 9:17. I saw someone mentioned earlier they couldn't believe it's 9:00 already. So we're going to do a quick reset. If you've jumped in the chat over on YouTube or on Twitch since we've started, we are with Brother Thanet tonight. We're talking about sound healing, spirituality, his journey in streaming on Twitch and TikTok and YouTube and all those kinds of things. So welcome in if you've joined us since the beginning. And we have about 45 minutes left in the program. So if you have any questions, make sure you put them in chat. If you were in Twitch, you can always highlight the message, and we will definitely try to get any questions you have over to Brother Thanet before the end of the show tonight. To kind of pick back up, I want to, because I had some, talking about, because we've kind of been on some of the same paths with Twitch and kind of as content creators and stuff like that. That's interesting. One thing I noticed with Twitch is I love Twitch and I love the community we built on Twitch, but Twitch wasn't built to be a spiritual platform. So many people don't come to Twitch for tarot readings or to learn how to do shadow work or to do ritual or meditation or whatever those things are. you're only going to be able to drag so many people out of the Call of Duty lobby over into the Tarot channel. You know what I mean?
I call it Call of Doo-doo.
And so that's like one thing that we've noticed too. Like we have awesome community on Twitch. I could never imagine, but I think to what you said, like, and sometimes we kind of build up these images of what each social media platform is. And Twitch is this, and YouTube is this, and TikTok is this, and Insta is this. But really what you have to look for in doing what you're doing and is you have to reach people. Like there's people who are looking for what you do. And all of those things, you know, going out to 6 different platforms isn't excessive because you're going to find the people that are meant to find you. So I almost think of it as like just putting out like the bat signal, you know, like if I can stream this on Facebook, if I can stream this on YouTube, if I can stream this on TikTok, it doesn't matter what platform I'm on because the people who are meant to hear it are going to be the ones who find it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It takes time to find out how the platforms work, right? And you have to see where is your home base, right? And so where you have the most people is where a lot of energy is. And so TikTok has a lot of spiritual practitioners. It's very open to that. It's very colorful and it's very explorative. And so I was not multi-platforming before, right? Because it's a lot easier to read one chat box than 4.
Yes.
So
Correct.
I actively read 4 chat boxes. And that is really okay. Just 2 is overwhelming. But after 2, the universe, you could do 2 more. I'm like, I guess so. And so now I'm reading 4 chat boxes per stream, but it allows us to find authentic seekers who resonate with you. And many people, you know, you're gonna lose a lot of people. People may be sad that many people were sad that I came to TikTok because my energy shifted towards 50 people or 100 people out of nowhere. And so but you have to see. But of course I still engage with everybody the best that I can. Is just sometimes when you grow, some people won't like it.
Yeah.
Right? Some people will be sad that, how come you're not talking to Insight Timer as much as before? Well, because when you're dealing with more people, you have to focus more also. Right? When there's less people, it's kind of chill. But when you have 600 people listening to you, it's a lot different. Right? And so it requires dialing in because they're here to relax or they're here for a message. They're here for you. And you want to do your best to make a difference on the planet, not just here to hang out and be cute. And that's why we put effort. And that's why there's so much preparation work and even the lighting, right? Y'all have good lighting. That matters because you care. And the last part is making it look easy. Right? Because when all of this is not easy, right? You have to prepare all these, use the StreamYard and the backdrop, learn how to use it seamlessly, get the good microphone, and learn how to make it work. And so the best part is getting more eyes and more ears so that you can follow through on your calling and your purpose. Because imagine your purpose makes a huge difference on the planet. It's good that it's making difference, but imagine it could grow. But what's the cost of growing bigger? I'm streaming 10 hours a day. I'm sitting like this 5 hours in the morning, 5 hours at night. Sometimes I'm really tired, but I remember my time on the planet is limited anyways. I'm going to give it my all. But of course, I'm not here to be too comfortable, but also not be miserable. So that's why I suggest many spiritual practitioners come to TikTok and still multi-stream. No one said it's going to be easy, but the reward of climbing the mountain is a great reward, right? But when you're comfortable with the Rocky Mountain, then you want to go to Kilimanjaro now. And that's another like there's more snow on this mountain. Can we take a helicopter? There's no shortcut to climbing the mountain. And if you take a shortcut, you'll need it forever. And sometimes, right? And many people will spend money to grow on TikTok, which is not authentic growth. So when I grew, right, it was organic growth, and that's why it continues to slowly grow. Right? Sometimes it grows rapidly, but don't expect it to, because whenever it's slow, that's when you keep developing and keep improving, because it's more about the process than like the destination, right? It's not like, yes, I'm at 8,000 now. It's more like, all right, how can I help more people? How can I be better?
Yeah, because if all of a sudden I woke up tomorrow and in the witching hours had 100,000 followers on YouTube, the first thing that's probably going to happen is we're going to go, okay, how do we get to 200,000?
Yeah.
Right. Like that's in a lot of ways. So it's like, if you're just following numbers, you're never going to stop following numbers. When you're at 2 million, you're going to want 3 million. But like you said, I mean, I enjoy what I do. I enjoy these conversations that I get to have. And really, you know, this is just a way to be able to get, you know, to be able to have a conversation with people about, you know, different kinds of things. And so it really is more about the journey than it is about the destination. Although, as a content creator, I am guilty of looking at numbers more than I should.
And it's fine. Like, to me, look at the numbers. Having great numbers is a great thing. It's just don't lose yourself to it. And if you do lose, it's fine if you lose yourself. Just get back to yourself too. I went through a phase where I wanted to get the partnership on Twitch so bad. I used the Morpheus phase. I call it Cos Morpheus. It helped me achieve partnership, but I couldn't be my true self because I was always stern and doing the Morpheus vibe. So I couldn't joke around because it's Morpheus in the movie. Don't joke around, damn it, right? Thanet does.
That's actually,
I remember those days. Yeah.
The first time I went into your stream, because you already had the check mark, and it's like, wow, there's somebody in tarot who has a check mark. You don't see that very often.
Yeah.
So it's like,
so
oh, this is interesting.
yeah, there was like 3 people, and I was like, man, and I just wanted to make sure it was authentic. And then if I lost I disconnected with myself, and I basically scrapped Cos Morpheus. I didn't scrap it. He still
he still shows up sometimes.
He still shows up sometimes. Love your damn self, please. And so you can't, you know, it's fun, but sometimes I just bring it out and it's serious. It's just, but the main part, just be you and be proud and be good, and it'll grow. It's just, you have to keep trying, and again, if you never stop trying and devoting, the doors will naturally open. And I'm grateful for I'm just grateful that that it's the testimonials. I think that means the most to me, because it's like, it's refreshing when you see that people are actually practicing and they're actually loving their damn self.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we repeat it a lot, but when people actually practice what we talk about in here and they find results, you're like,
what's one of your favorite testimonial stories?
Like bodily healing, anything with Alzheimer's, their hand shakes a lot less, or some even cancer goes into remission.
Wow.
Right. But like, you know, it's more about, it's more even the subtle things, like helping people not end their own life, you know. It's like, wow, your music helped me to have hope in my life again.
Wow.
Like, to me, that's enough. The rest is whoa, that's crazy. But to just help people choose to stay because they heard some good music, it's like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's like if you just helped one person change their life, like, that's worth it.
Absolutely.
And then if you have multiple, that's even better.
Well, that's why before I got online, I was mentoring people, my friends locally, one a year. And they kept getting great results to where they were able to forgive. And then I helped another one stop smoking the rocks, right? She was like really addicted to that, and she quit and now became like an x-ray tech and just became very happy. And so it's slow. I started saying, wow, I'm actually like I'm doing something apparently.
Yeah.
And I just never stopped helping people, but I didn't know it would lead like all of it was, I never thought about making money or anything with it. It just eventually you kind of need to make money because we live on planet Earth where you need it.
Correct. Yeah.
But I'm really hard-headed because, maybe spiritual ego. But my own mentor, the master Kaochen, taught me to be open to money, because good people with money are going to do good things. And sometimes the good people are scared of money the most. But if the good people have money, they're going to go help people. And so I'm grateful many people, and and everything that I do is donation based, right? So I'm able to to survive and pay bills very well now, and slowly building on it, because it just happened last year full time. And so I'm just honored, and it's definitely so many leap of faith. So when you're done leaping, here comes the next one. Like, eventually you leap so much, you kind of get used to it. All right, when's the next one?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my life. I just wake up and like, okay, where do I need to do I need to start learning the piano now? Okay, do I need to start using a digital mixer? Do I need to use a loop station now? Oh, how about 4 microphones? How about 45 flutes? I don't think about it. It's just kind of like, oh yes, universe, I will do it.
Yeah.
At the end, I love it, and I also have no option. But that's the best part. I love it, and I trust so much that things work out. And I think we can, it wasn't always like that.
Always like that. We had a question from Priestess Wonderland. She wanted to know, do you have a favorite instrument to play?
That's my favorite instrument is right here. Do, 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 do. Your own voice.
I thought you were pointing to your nose.
Yeah, my nose is like this. It's like the flute holes, right?
Yeah.
And
your
so,
voice, yes.
Yeah.
Because it was the first, I asked the universe in meditation, if I believe in myself and I was confident with myself, who would that person sound like? And it's what you're hearing today. Because I used to be so low confident. I spoke like this and mouthed and open, but then I just had faith, and so if I was confident and my life was great, how would I sound? So I found a sound before I found who, like, who I was, was gonna be, and that's why I'm so grateful for my voice, because without this, there's no flute. But now, let's realistically, they're gonna the flutes are gonna get jealous if I choose one. Okay, I love all my baby. Currently, guys, okay. Currently, I would say this is called Granny Willow. Okay, this is a very here. Okay, yeah, you hear it first, and then we'll see.
Okay. Beautiful. Yeah.
Wonderful.
No, yeah. The sound speaks for itself. Just the ancient sound of like a grandmother tree, just like,
yeah,
you're gonna be fine, damn it, believe. And you're like, yes, I do.
Yeah, I love that.
So I think of the flutes more like a region, right? We got the Native American, we have the Japanese flute. So in each region, there's a flute that's like the superstar.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the Indian flutes, I have like Peruvian flutes, Egyptian flutes, Arabian flute, the Japanese flutes, and there's a superstar in each category. And with singing bowls, this is the current superstar. And of course, whenever I live stream, I turn on the frequency meter so people can see, like, it's another tool.
So people can visualize it as well.
Exactly. Here's a full version. So whenever I polish or rim play, so you can see the waveform, and that helps people to relax quite a bit because there's some visual to the. Of course, it's backwards on here, but on the other platform, it's the correct way. So you can see the waveform.
Gotcha.
And also, I look at it, I'm like, that is a pretty waveform. Sometimes it looks really interesting. So it's it's definitely even finding how to use this live on screen and make it look pleasing and finding the best looking tuner. It's all. You just plug it in. All right, universe, I have this idea and it needs to look beautiful. And boom, it already exists. And then okay, I could display the window on here. Oh, I can just use the corner of that window, which is where you see the and then of course other visualizations. Because you have to learn to be relatable to the modern world too. How to make spirituality interesting, but nothing can replace genuineness and authenticity. Like you could do all this and still not, and still lack authenticity. So authenticity at the core, and then pinkies up, do whatever you want.
Yeah, I was an art teacher for many years, and part of what I enjoy about art is photography, and I would always say that it's not what you have, it's how you use it. It's like you could have the best camera in the world, but if you're, like shit at taking pictures, then it don't matter. If you got a little flip phone, but you're really good at taking pictures, guess what? So it's the same.
It's why I always start with the cheapest stuff and slowly build my way up, because I think it's about respect.
Yeah.
I learned, like, don't just buy the best flute right away, because you want to build a relationship with the art form. And I definitely did that with photography. I started with a point and shoot and eventually bought my first Nikon D40 with a whopping 6 megapixel. And now it's like, this quality with video. I remember that we didn't have video on the cameras. Now it's like 8K.
Yeah.
We have another question. Go ahead, Frosty.
It was like one of the things Jenny recommended when she said I need to take a photography class, and I had an opportunity to take one in college. And that was one of the things that I appreciated the most, was because I think we were all running around with fancy cameras, and like our instructor, our professor, was just taking all his pictures with like an old iPhone. And his pictures are absolutely amazing, and it was just like, here, this student's got a $2,000 camera, and what I just took with this like 3-generation old iPhone, like just destroyed what you took, because it's all about the presentation and understanding what you wanted, before you took the picture.
Exactly.
Understanding color, Just
the foundations. It's like even with anything basketball, learning the basic foundation helps you to build on it. But if your foundation is weak, you end up just looking flashy, and people know, oh, you're just a flashy hooper. But
Yeah.
you're not consistent. You don't know how to play with the team. You're just doing it for ego.
Mm-hmm.
Another great thing I'd like to talk about from that class too was the idea that was the first time I ever saw color. The way that you're supposed to see color, I guess. Like, and I had this conversation with Jenny because it's like, what color is that leaf on the tree? Like, that was like one of the lessons we had that day. And I was like, it's green. It's green. And it's like, well, actually, like, take a picture of it, and then like we look at it, and it's like, well, there's like some white in there, and there's like some yellows, and there's probably about 5 different shades of green, and then there's a little bit of like a brown here, and all of a sudden you realize this green leaf is like 20 different colors. And you had to start kind of realizing that the world was much more than what you kind of generalized it.
For
Like,
sure.
everything I thought about color was a generalization because I actually wasn't looking at the real color.
Yeah.
So
it's
it's really
because
interesting.
we let our brains tell us the story of what was going on. Our brain wants to fill in all the holes with whatever it thinks is correct.
And also, we don't have enough time to focus on us. Like, if you're like an audio engineer, your ear's going to be like, that's like slightly to the left of sound, So that's why we have our specialty. Like, maybe if you're a chef, your tongue palette's going to be extravagant versus somebody who just, doesn't cook. So that's why we have to see, like, that's why we have professionals and people who are expert in different things, so that, and working together to like make the best something.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, Jenny, ask that question.
We have another question from Priestess Wonderland. She said, do you have a relationship with Krishna?
For sure. No, part of my exploration, the sound healing, the spiritual journey, I explored the Hare Krishna temple because, Ishkan, right? They call it Ishkan. But of course, my relationship with Krishna is more like, damn, so many people love Krishna. Respect, it's like, wow, so many people love Jesus. Respect. So the same thing happened to me with Krishna, because there has to be something great or people are not going to be hyping up. But currently, my relationship with Krishna has been rapidly increasing because of the, because Krishna plays the, this is an Indian flute, and I'm just gonna, so whenever the music is like last night, or in the past 3 days, it's been lots of people. It's quiet with 450 people on TikTok. You got 50 on Twitch. Completely quiet. You already know that mandala, like the positive energy flowing. And I pick up the bansuri, right? And I'm playing, and I just see it just going on its own, and you start to feel the presence. I feel the presence of Krishna just playing the flute for me. I get started, and then the feeling comes, and I just let the flute plays. But whenever that's happening, and when that happened, it's so emotional, because it's like God comes to play the flute, and but it's something you stay quiet about because you're not supposed to. But since somebody asked, and right, I usually keep it to myself most of the time, unless like it happens or we're in an engage, and you just kind of so recent. And I've been watching a lot more Hindu thing, because the Kumbh Mela, the Hindu gathering, just ended with the 7 planets or whatever aligning. And so that's a big thing in Hinduism. And so I just imagine the millions and millions of people chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But to me, my relationship isn't like, it's more about the energy. It's just the universe can show up as Jesus, as Buddha, or as Krishna playing the flute with you or through you. But staying humble because, I'm just an instrument, and love is the real player.
Yeah.
So yes,
can relate to that. Can relate. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's an interesting comment from Priestess. Media Engineer Lee, Krishna came through in a reading for me with you one time and have listened to Krishna flutes ever since.
Yes, there's something. See, the Indian flutes are very unique because they're all bamboo, and it's like whatever I just played is called a super bass flute. Or like when I'm sitting down, it's still this tall, right? And it's a bit more difficult to play, like, but and it's the walls are a bit thinner, but when you hear it, there's like a hugging energy because of the bass. It's just very. And so the warmth on the flute, it just makes people like doze off a lot. And so when I'm playing, sometimes like, just very dreamy. And same thing with the super bass, the granny willow, same thing. But that's more like an earthly dreamy. This one's more like enchanting dreamy. And so there's like a different dimension of energy. And I'm just glad it's all positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
So that's why there's so many instruments, because each instrument takes you on a different positive energetic experience. But the best thing, it's all positive and it's all soothing and all relaxed. Now, I wouldn't say there are some it's more intense, like the Arabian flute. If you can definitely be too aggressive with the flute.
Yeah, that feels like there's gonna be some like big like crescendo, and then there's gonna be like some belly dancers and some snakes dancing and stuff.
Exactly. It's more. There's a bit more like there's a bit more like I call it fire energy.
Yeah. Like something's getting ready to happen. There's some action.
Yeah.
Almost like, okay, something auspicious is about to happen. We're not sure what it is, but watch out. It could be an eclipse. The planets are aligning. Krishna might come. And so that is more the Hijaz scale, which is the Middle Eastern, like Egypt, the Arabian, that whole area, and Iran, Israel, and so. And you can feel the ancestors from each region. It's so beautiful. Even with the throat chanting, you feel like that whole area and the native. So essentially, you start to feel the spirit from each. To me, I do, because I respect the instrument like they're teachers, right? Each instrument is a healer, is a teacher, and the more you respect, the more the energy. The less you respect, the casual it is. So everything's so ceremonial to me, because it's like when there's a ceremony, it's a great respect, right? Graduation. But when it comes to more spiritual ceremony, it's a lot about purification and restoring faith and hope. Even when people sing together at mass, it's like so unifying, and I'm glad that I can, it's beautiful. Even Thai recorders, Thai flutes. I didn't really play any Thai recorder. I grew up playing. My first flute, of course, was my 5th grade recorder. Mm-hmm. Mary had a little lamb.
Hot cross buns.
Hot cross bun. Hey, practice later. We're trying to sleep. But the first serious instrument, flute, was a Thai recorder, which is like really an Irish flute, but the design is a lot different. This is actually my uncle passed away, and this is like a family heirloom.
Oh, wow.
And sounds. So very louder, more enchanting. Many people may say, "Oh, I see the Shire."
Yeah.
It is interesting how it's the same instrument, but each place in the world came up with their own, based on materials and design and what have you.
Which is beautiful,
it's amazing how different they all are.
Yeah.
And
I think the
same way that you did, like what you were saying, is like for you it's when you play it, but for me, when I hear it, I definitely get connected into the ancestors or the imagery of the place, for sure.
And each scale does something different. Like for whatever reason, like the Japanese and the Arabian, they have a more mystery. Sometimes because life sometimes is so orderly, like Japanese, everything is so like the samurai, there's a system there, the emperor, and everyone has their role. Everything's so rigid. And so that mystery makes people like,
like the minor scale.
Yeah, it's. And that's why, like in Kill Bill, you hear like that little, and it's like there's some mystery. What the like Bruce Lee and like whatever, where he fights the people on different stages. There's some mystery to it, and it's just one person made the yo.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like so iconic to where you don't miss the yo. And it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's funny that we got into that, because that was actually be my next question. Because when you play, it automatically like gives almost like this cerebral or like visceral connection to like a certain region through the flute. And I was wondering if like, because you were talking about Krishna, but I was like, I wonder if there's, like you said, what you talked about, the ancestors kind of coming in, because there really does just seem to be a focusing connection. It's like I guess like a channeling,
Absolutely. The thing is, again, it's a channeling, and it's just like each ancestor is all one ancestors, but realistically, there's culture, so we want to respect it, because like if we go back even farther, we're all just dust and dirt, right?
Yeah.
But realistically, like and there's whenever different style of drumming, like for example, here's another clear ancestor. When you hear that, you're like, that's some ancient, And
what is that thing called? What is it?
This is a Jaws harp or a Jews harp. And it's called a Jews harp because that's just what they named it. It has nothing to do with Jewish people.
Yeah.
It's just marketing. And and this instrument is all around the world. The Vietnamese have one, Russians have one, Australians have one. And it's just so simple, because sometimes it's portable, and instead of a guitar, you just bring this out when you got nothing going on.
Yeah.
And somebody just tapping on something, it's just back then to gather. They didn't have TV, but they did have instruments, and that's what made life a little bit more like harmonious, that there's some flute, some drum, And that's why gatherings and festivals was such a huge part. But nowadays when we gather, sometimes you don't get the same feel as like something intimate, like it's just people gathering. It's like, yay, fireworks, but who the hell are you? You know?
Well, I know exactly what you're talking about. Me and Jenny went to a concert a couple weeks ago, and I remember concerts having a much more intimate feel. And at first everyone has that nervousness. There's strangers standing next to you, and everyone. But as the music breaks down those walls, and people are feeling emotion, and so it used to be. I used to notice like all of a sudden, like in between songs, like the strangers standing next to each other start talking, and people start laughing with each other, and people start opening up to each other, and before long it feels like these people at this concert are like part of this extended family that you've created just for this night, maybe, right? But I've noticed that's disappeared a little bit. But I think phones and people want to record the whole concert kind of hamper that a little bit. But I did notice it still, at the concert we were at the other night, like as the concert goes on, people are moved by the music. It created a sense of community, and so music can do that.
Depends on the musician too. Some musicians really like love the engagement. Like I always talk about Bob Marley's performance on stage, because like the way he operated, he didn't do shows on stage. He did ceremonies. So he would just sit there and he would just stand in it and just tap his leg the whole time. Dun, 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 right? And the ladies, and everyone would just the whole audience would just copy him. And so they all were so focused on that channeling aspect that they felt one. And maybe they were high too. I don't know.
Probably didn't hurt any.
Yeah, it definitely at that time, like, well, why would you not? You're at a Bob Marley concert. But realistically, it, using it to at least unite and feel at one. And at that time, there was no need to record everything because, there was no phones.
Yeah.
And so the purity of like, that's why I do love watching old concerts, because you just see, we will rock you, right? Freddie Mercury and everyone just like clapping at the same time. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Because nowadays they can't clap because they're holding their damn phone.
Yeah, it's very communal. It's very shamanistic.
Music
a concert. I think it really takes us. I mean, we just know people have been moved by drums since the dawn of time. So it's
isn't it directly connected to our heartbeat?
Yeah,
being in the womb, listening to our mother's heartbeats.
Whenever I do play the drum personally here, you can feel that everybody's just so moved by just the graceful drum, because imagine when our ancestors drum together, it's like usually not so big, and it's just I grew up playing the drum, actually, the Thai drums, which is from India, by the way, and so it helps you to have a good, like, just keep moving forward, be patient, you're gonna make it, because the heartbeat just keeps going. And I think sometimes the music that we listen to, like, it's not so ceremonial, and I think that's why now we have more generic ones, like listening na 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 pa ra pa pum pum. You hear, dun, 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 dun. But that is there's some ceremonial experience to that song. And that's why I'm appreciative, even though in the mainstream there's Bob Marley, like reggae music, there's a natural mystic flowing through the dun, 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 dun. But of course now music has become a lot less raw because it's so polished, right? Everything's so polished that sometimes it disconnects from
get me on that.
On the authenticity.
That's like my number one as a musician. I used to play like heavy metal. I was like a metal guy, and but I would get into like old like mixing traditional music in with like metal and stuff like that. But I'm very much someone who loves to hear music in its raw form.
Yeah.
No matter what, whether it's rap, whether it's R&B, whether it's rock and roll, whether it's heavy metal, whether it's blues,
jazz.
like like I want to hear Delta blues. I want to hear Robert Johnson. I'm not so much into Chicago blues. I don't want to hear the polish with the trumpets. I want a guy with his guitar who is that I can feel that just raw emotion one-on-one. So I get your argument there. I tell Janine all the time, music is just kind of too polished now. I like it to be rough around the edges. I like to hear the imperfection. It's like one of the things I notice that oftentimes in the studio is you would have this moment of imperfection where something went wrong. And the natural reaction is we need to fix that. Back it up, record it again. And sometimes I would have to be like, no, stop. Like play it back. Just listen to it. Play it back. Do you like it? And it's like, oh, well, that actually is kind of cool what happened there. It's like, yeah, so don't throw it out. Like keep it. Because the imperfections are what make people realize that it's real.
And I think the AI doesn't add to that because a lot of times AI just like if you use any AI thing, it just covers a lot of it because oh, that's imperfection. We don't want that. And even photos, right? Photoshop nowadays, if you want to look skinny, just download an app.
Yeah, for real.
That's all I need.
Well, we're at the end of the time here. Before we say goodnight, you said you're streaming to 6 platforms. I don't even think I know 6 platforms. Will you tell everybody where they can find you?
Realistically, if you search Guru Thanet, but I'm on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, TikTok, Insight Timer, and Facebook also. And that's how it's, the movement is growing because there's authentic people. Your people's, if you stay authentic, it's few people because real talk doesn't grow, isn't so viral because it's not drama. It's just wisdom that helps people. So that's, so Guru Thanet, even on Spotify, Apple Music, it's just, everything's Guru Thanet.
Cool.
And that's basically, I changed everything from the Mystic Village. That was my old name. Now it's Guru Thanet.
Do you remember that you changed your name to the Mystic Village when you were in my stream?
Did I?
Yeah. You was like, oh, Cosmic Unwind gave us a raid. And you're like, I'm going to change my name. And then all of a sudden it was said, the Mystic Village. And we're like,
I always, I like evolution and growth because I'm not attached to like Guru Thanet might just eventually just be GT. Just get rid of,
be something else. And
it's about being effective and useful. And I'm grateful that I'm useful to humanity because it's making my life work and other people's life work, and I'm glad. And by the way, if anybody want to check out the Witching Hour is on Twitch too, right?
Yeah, Twitch, we're on Twitch right now. Twitch
and YouTube.
Yeah,
and maybe
and all the platforms.
TikTok in the future.
Yeah,
we're on TikTok. I put our highlights from the shows on here, so we'll have some more of you on TikTok. The thing I have to figure out now is how to figure out to get this thing to go live from this place. So but we'll
it's
get
fine.
there.
You'll figure it out. Like it's and if you have question, like I'm always giving people advice on how to grow because I don't want to be I'm trying to help everyone around me grow. So I got so many people to like start live streaming, playing the flute, singing balls.
Awesome.
Well, I always feel that way. It's no fun going someplace without anybody. I always like to have friends around. So, it's always cool to have, a group around. So
thanks for the, inviting me here because I'm just grinding, just keep, my thing. And I'm glad you're doing, and I want to see it, I want to see you reach more people. So I find your way to TikTok. And I think more ideas, because now when you have a more audience, it's like, oh shoot, okay, now I want to do more.
Yeah.
And so it's a beautiful part and grateful that we could collaborate because we kind of grew at the same place. So grateful to see that we're not many people keep going. It's hard, it's difficult.
We were all either determined or stubborn enough to keep going.
I use the word crazy. I'm a little crazy, and that's why I found some success. Because if you're too normal, it's really difficult. Or let's just say optimistic. Optimistic.
Well, we're so proud and excited for your growth, for sure.
And shout out to you. I think you might be the only one I've seen wear the first generation love your damn self t-shirt. And so grateful that, we stay in touch, and I'm grateful that you're still inspired, because it means you believe in it, right? You believe in the witching hour, you believe in what you're doing. And to me, that's my people, because when things get difficult, many people just don't keep going. But I'm grateful to see that y'all about that life. Same thing with, I don't know if Granny Savage is still around.
She had to stop. She was helping her daughter with her shop.
The OG.
I know she's gone. But yeah, like, I think we got to finish up this stream at some point. But I just wanted to say, like, that's why I'm still here, is because I built a community that I absolutely is a huge part of my life. So I'm so glad that you found your community too.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to see many people still at it, like Sister Lisa over here, practical magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep, Lisa's still kicking it.
Yeah.
To me, that's the real ones will keep going forever. And I'm trying to be around committed people, because that's your future. If you're surrounded by people who are determined, we all get to bloom together.
All the boats rise together.
Exactly. And our garden becomes beautiful because we all water next to each other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, once again, thank you for coming on the show. Make sure you check them out. It's twitch.tv, Guru Thanet, THANET. You can find them on Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, all those places we talked about. Go check it out. Listen to that beautiful music. Thank you so much for coming on, Brother Thanet. We'd love to have you on again down the road if you're willing to come on and talk to us again. I feel like there's still so much more to talk about.
Always.
For all of you listening at another time, in another place, we will see you all next time. And for everyone who's still hanging out with us here over on Twitch and YouTube, we're going to go do that old Twitch raid. And I think I already got somebody tonight. We got Muso Patty Savage.
Yeah. Thanet was just talking about him earlier.
Yeah, we talked about him today, so we have to. So we're gonna go
see if he's doing a love reading.
Oh yeah, he was asking me about that. How do you deal with all these people asking but nothing for love reading? That's why I love your damn self happen. Literally.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
You'll be back on tomorrow, Jenny, right? Medium Jenny Lee tomorrow night, Friday, ready to go.
Night.
So we'll see you for readings tomorrow. Take care. We will talk to you all later. Let's go say hi to Muso Patty Savage. Take care, everybody.
Choo choo.
Yep. Here we